Hey Steelers Nation! Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into everything happening with our team. Today, we've got an exclusive breakdown of the Steelers' recent trade deadline moves, including a close call with DK Metcalf and why the team ultimately landed Mike Williams. Plus, we'll discuss what might be one of the Steelers' biggest offseason challenges, the future of Najee Harris in Pittsburgh. Before we dive in, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support really helps us bring you more insider stories. Let's get into it. Pittsburgh made headlines recently by acquiring Mike Williams from the New York Jets to fill a big need in their wide receiver lineup. However, it turns out the Steelers were aiming even higher, trying to secure Seattle Seahawks star wide receiver, DK Metcalf. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the Steelers initially checked on Metcalf, though Seattle quickly shut down any chance of a trade. The front office also explored options with Darius Slayton from the New York Giants and nearly completed a deal for Christian Kirk before he suffered an injury. Talk about aiming high. Let's take a closer look at the factors behind these ambitious trade moves. At 6-2, the Steelers have positioned themselves as serious playoff contenders, but offensive coordinator Arthur Smith saw room for improvement in the receiver room. George Pickens and Van Jefferson have shown flashes, yet the team has lacked a reliable deep ball target who can stretch the field. Adding someone like DK Metcalf would have been a game-changer, especially with Metcalf's history playing alongside Russell Wilson. However, despite Seattle's recent slide in the standings, trading away a top receiver didn't align with their plans. They're still within playoff range and unwilling to part with Metcalf, at least for now. As Fowler hinted, if the Seahawks continue to struggle, the Steelers could circle back on this potential trade in the offseason. Steelers fans, keep that one on your radar. After exploring every possible option, the Steelers landed Mike Williams, who brings similar qualities to the table. At 6 feet 4 inches and 220 pounds, Williams has the build and experience to serve as a reliable target. His deep threat capabilities and ability to win contested catches will not only add depth but also open up the field for Pickens and Jefferson. Arthur Smith's excitement was clear as he said, "Mike is a big receiver and has made a lot of 50-50 catches. He'll have a big presence in the run game as well, and we'll see where it goes." This isn't just a temporary fix, it's a strategic addition to a roster that's already playoff caliber. While adding talent is essential, keeping it is just as important. The Steelers have enjoyed a relatively smooth offseason this year, securing key contract extensions with players like Cam Hayward and Pat Freiermuth. But next year, the team will face a significant financial decision, whether to re-sign Najee Harris, whose fifth-year option they declined. For Steelers Nation, this decision was a head-scratcher. Harris has rushed for over 1,000 yards in each of his first 3 seasons and has been one of the NFL's most durable running backs since being drafted in 2021. With Arthur Smith implementing a run-heavy offense, Harris was poised for a breakout season, and he's delivered. Through the first half of 2024, Harris has rushed for over 100 yards in 3 consecutive games and boasts a career-best 4.4 yards per carry. Pittsburgh's choice to decline Harris's 5th-year option was based on financial strategy. Had they picked it up, Harris would be locked in for the 2025 season at $6.79 million, fully guaranteed. Now, with Harris's production spiking and the NFL's running back market shifting, re-signing him could cost the Steelers much more. To put things in perspective, Chuba Hubbard recently signed a 4-year, $33.2 million extension with the Carolina Panthers, averaging $8.4 million per year. Hubbard's stats don't come close to Harris's, so it's almost guaranteed Harris will seek a similar or higher salary. If the Steelers want to keep him, they'll need to make a strong financial commitment. Pittsburgh has 3 primary options for Harris: re-sign him, use the franchise tag, or let him test free agency. Here's a breakdown of each choice. 1. Re-sign Harris to a long-term deal. This is the option many fans and analysts expect. A multi-year contract gives the Steelers security and ensures Harris remains a core component of their offense. However, it's not a cheap option. With Harris's current production and the increasing value of running backs in the league, his contract could be upward of $9 million per year. 2. Use the franchise tag. Tagging Harris would mean a 1-year commitment, likely at a premium cost. The franchise tag for running backs has been hovering around $10 million per season, which is higher than his projected annual salary. It could be an option if the Steelers want to buy more time but don't want to commit long-term until they're certain of his health and productivity. 3. Let Harris walk in free agency. This would be a tough call and a significant loss for the team. Letting Harris walk means the Steelers would have to rely on backups or the draft to fill his role. Harris's impact on the field and in the locker room makes this the least desirable option. But with budget constraints, it could come to this if the Steelers can't find a way to keep him under the cap. Harris's contract situation wouldn't be as challenging if he weren't thriving under Arthur Smith. Steelers Nation, you know how much a change in offensive schemes can impact a player's performance, and it's safe to say Smith's arrival has been a game-changer for Harris. Smith's run-heavy offense has allowed Harris to play to his strengths, grinding down defenses and controlling the clock. His recent performance isn't a coincidence, it's the result of smart play calling and Harris's hard work. For Harris, a new deal would likely mean staying with an offense that prioritizes his role, giving him the chance to continue growing his game. And for the Steelers, it's about locking in a key contributor who's shown he can handle the physical demands of a run-first offense. Harris's contributions go beyond the stats, too. His ability to consistently gain yardage, stay healthy, and keep defenses honest gives the Steelers' passing game more room to operate. The synergy between Harris, Smith, and the rest of the offense is apparent. In this context, re-signing him could be worth every penny. This is the big question, Steelers Nation. Where will Najee Harris be in 2025? His performance this season suggests he's only getting better, making him one of the hottest potential free agents if he hits the market. Pittsburgh will need to weigh the benefits of keeping a dynamic running back in his prime against the high cost of a new deal. Running backs' contracts are always tricky, as we've seen around the league. However, with a player like Harris who fits Pittsburgh's offense so perfectly, there's a strong case for the Steelers to make an exception. But remember, the franchise tag is also in play, although it would be a costly option. This past offseason, the Steelers shocked many by trading one of their core wide receivers, Deontay Johnson, to the Carolina Panthers in exchange for cornerback Dante Jackson. Trading away Johnson, one of our most dependable wideouts, for a defensive back raised plenty of eyebrows. Wide receivers and cornerbacks rarely get swapped straight up, and many questioned if the Steelers were undervaluing Johnson's contributions. Initially, the trade looked uneven, and fans were understandably concerned. After all, Johnson's quickness and ability to find open space have been pivotal for the Steelers' offense. But here we are, more than halfway through the season, and the Steelers may be the clear winners in this exchange. Johnson hasn't had the impact he hoped for with his new teams, while Jackson has stepped up as a defensive playmaker for the Steelers. So, here's what happened. After his short stint with Carolina, Johnson found himself on the Baltimore Ravens. Many Steelers fans felt that sting. The idea of seeing him suit up for a rival team wasn't easy to accept. However, it turns out Johnson's time in Baltimore hasn't been smooth either. He's only seen limited snaps, barely touching the field since joining the Ravens. In fact, he played just 5 snaps in his second week with the team. It's tough to say if Johnson's frustrations stem from limited opportunities, but he recently posted a cryptic tweet that's raised eyebrows among fans. It's always two sides to a story. This message could hint at frustration with his role or perhaps even some unresolved issues from his departure from Pittsburgh. But whatever the case, Johnson isn't seeing the field nearly as much as he'd like. Meanwhile, the Steelers are feeling increasingly confident in their side of the trade. In Pittsburgh, the focus shifted quickly from loss to gain. Dante Jackson has seamlessly integrated into the Steelers' defense, forming a dynamic cornerback duo alongside Joey Porter Jr. and Beanie Bishop. Jackson currently leads the team with 3 interceptions, and his knack for making big plays has helped bolster the Steelers' secondary. And with the recent return of Cam Sutton, Jackson can share the workload, making an already powerful defensive unit even stronger. The addition of Jackson has given the Steelers a new level of depth and flexibility in the secondary. While Johnson was reliable on offense, adding a versatile cornerback like Jackson has fortified Pittsburgh's pass defense. This has proved to be an invaluable asset, especially in today's league where shutting down elite receivers has become critical. As if Jackson's success wasn't enough, the Steelers made another big move by trading for wide receiver Mike Williams from the New York Jets. While Johnson continues to find his footing in Baltimore, Pittsburgh now has a solid number 2 receiver in Williams to pair with George Pickens. This addition means that, in exchange for Johnson, the Steelers essentially ended up with both Jackson and Williams, a win for Pittsburgh no matter how you look at it. At 30 years old, Williams brings experience, size, and the ability to stretch the field, filling a gap the Steelers have needed to address all season. Head coach Mike Tomlin and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith are excited to bring Williams into the lineup and believe he's a strong fit for their offense. Williams' arrival not only adds depth but gives the Steelers another legitimate weapon who can help Pickens thrive as the team's primary target. The Steelers took a calculated risk when they traded Johnson. But looking at the bigger picture, it's clear they prioritized versatility and defensive strength over maintaining an overloaded receiving core. This strategic shift has worked out exceptionally well, especially with Williams now in the mix to replace Johnson's production on offense. The move reflects the team's long-term vision. Pittsburgh understood that by securing Jackson, they'd be getting a player who could make an immediate impact and improve their chances of competing with AFC North rivals. Meanwhile, Johnson's recent struggles in Baltimore underscore that the Steelers' choice was likely the right one. The decision to bring in a cornerback instead of another offensive asset speaks volumes about the Steelers' priorities this season. This team is all about a balanced approach, emphasizing strong defense while keeping enough offensive firepower to stay competitive. With Jackson locking down receivers and Williams adding depth on the offensive side, Pittsburgh has set itself up for sustained success as the playoff push intensifies. If there's one thing we know about the AFC North, it's that every game counts, and every piece of the roster has to be firing on all cylinders. With Jackson anchoring the Steelers' secondary, they've built a more resilient defense that can handle the high-octane offenses of the division. His presence, alongside veterans and emerging stars, allows the Steelers to go toe-to-toe with Baltimore and Cincinnati, both of whom boast explosive playmakers. Moreover, as Johnson struggles to make an impact in Baltimore, Steelers fans can breathe a little easier knowing he likely won't pose a major threat to Pittsburgh in their head-to-head matchups. In fact, in their upcoming matchup with the Ravens, Johnson's limited role may mean Pittsburgh could go the entire game without feeling his absence on offense. Alright, Steelers fans, it's time to hear from you. Do you think the Steelers should re-sign Najee Harris, use the franchise tag, or let him test free agency? How do you feel about the decision to pursue DK Metcalf before trading for Mike Williams? Could Metcalf still be an option in the offseason? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more exclusive Steelers insights. We'll see you next time, and as always, here we go, Steelers.